The size, shape, and nature of spaces in video games can change dynamically. Walls can get blown up, spaces can fill with sand, or doors can simply open and close. All of these things should change how the space sounds. We've looked at dynamic reverb in a previous tutorial, so in this video we're going to focus on how you can dynamically change the ambient zone settings of an audio volume in order to reflect changes in the game world. At the center of Cave 2, that's bookmark 7 in the demonstration project, is a magical ring. And when you activate this, what we want to have is the effect of a kind of magical shield coming on that excludes all sounds outside of this ring area. We've created an audio volume here, and you might note that the brush shape of this is this time a cylinder, unlike the boxes we've used up until now. And we've added several sides so that we get a nice cylindrical shape. And what we want to do is to reference this within the blueprint for the magical spell. So here we have the blueprint. So we're going to reference that audio volume by creating a variable. I'm going to call it audio volume, and we'll make it of variable type audio volume. So then by making this public, compiling the blueprint, you can use the picker here to select the audio volume we want to reference, which in this case is audio volume spell, the cylindrical audio volume we've got here. So the blueprint is a typical scenario of we're overlapping with a collision sphere within it, and that allows us to gate off a key press. We're going to play a magical spell sound, and we're going to flip-flop between two conditions. One, the magical spell will be enabled, and there's a bit of a post-process volume that blurs out things outside of the magic circle, and then we're going to switch that off. So enabled and disabled. So what we want to do is to get a reference to our audio volume here, and then we are going to set interior settings. This is where we control our ambient zone. So we'll link that up to toggling the magical spell on. And here we're going to make some interior settings. So when the magical spell is on, what we're going to do is switch off all of the exterior sounds. We'll do it over 0.5 seconds. So that will essentially mute everything that's outside of the audio volume. And we'll do this again to reset it. So set interior settings. And here we'll just use the defaults. So exterior volume goes back to 1. So in the level, we just need to check that all our sounds are set to a sound class that enables these audio volumes. So let's just check this one. So the wind sound cue belongs to the area loops sound class. And we'll look at those settings just to verify apply ambient volumes is checked. Yes, so that should be affected by this. And then we can try it out. So we walk into our magical circle. You can hear some ambient sounds playing. I'm going to press E to start that magical effect. So we should see the post-process volume switch on, and we should see that the sounds exterior to this audio volume will be muted. So you can't hear anything outside of the audio volume. I'm going to trigger it again, so it will use that flip-flop and reset those ambient zone settings to the default, so the exterior sounds will now be audible again. You'll notice that the muting and unmuting didn't happen immediately. That's because we've got these delays in here in order to time that with the appropriate moment in this isolation spell sound. So if you look at here, we've got this peak in the isolation spell. So that's when we wanted the effect to come in. So that's why we put a little bit of a delay on there. This is a very instant change, but in some cases you may want the change to be more gradual so that the values interpolate over time. We could use the same techniques we saw in the last video for reverb, having two overlapping audio volumes and then switching between them by enabling one and disabling the other. But with ambient zones, you can actually use a different technique within blueprints to achieve the same effect. So let's delete these. So from the variable that's referencing our audio volume in game, we can get its current zone settings, get ambient zone settings. We can then break these and we can see all of those settings here. Now we're going to simply change the exterior volume and exterior time. So what we'll do is we'll create a set interior settings here, and here we will make those settings and we'll connect them up so that it retains all of the original ones. The only thing we're changing is going to be the exterior volume and exterior time. So in this case, when the magic spell comes on, we'll set the exterior volume to 0 again, but we'll have it happen over a period of time. I'm going to pick quite an extreme example so that we can hear its effect. So over 6 seconds, it's going to change just those two settings. All the others are going to be retained. So we should hear that exterior volume coming down to 0 over 6 seconds. And we'll create another one to reset those settings with the flip-flop. So again, make interior settings, so back up to 1, and let's just do that over 2 seconds. And again, we'll keep all those original settings here. These are just defaults in this instance, but it may be that you've got some specific settings, and rather than determining them every single time, this is just quite an easy way of doing it, particularly if you have nodes that have loads and loads of settings here. This can be quite a useful idea to break them and then make them again. So in the level, we'll go into our magical ring. And now we're hearing those exterior ambient sounds. And I'm going to press E, and we can just listen, and we should hear them gradually fade out over 6 seconds. And then I'll press E again, and they should come back in over 2. This magical spell is an extreme example for demonstration purposes, but you can imagine how changing ambient zone settings might actually be something that you use quite frequently in your levels. For example, every time a door opens or closes, the audio that is heard between one space and another should change to reflect this. We've seen how to dynamically change the ambient zone or interior settings of an audio volume. We've also looked at how you can break out groups of settings and just change one or two before packaging them back via a make object. With certain nodes, this can be a real time saver.